Flapping your gums with Vinny and Hessey. Yeah.
All right. We are back. What's up, y'all? Flapping your gums. I'm Hessey, and this is
Vinny.
Well, I don't think we've been gone that long for this one, at least as long as the last one.
No, it was only 2 weeks.
Perfect. I think that last one we were on hiatus for a
5.
minute. But we were able to figure it out, dude. Life, especially in the summertime, dude, gets crazy. But yeah, dude. So what's up? Welcome. What you been up to? What's life? Let's hear about it. Let's hear about the last couple weeks since after we had Leon, which was an epic episode.
Yeah, we had Leon. That was pretty good. I heard a lot of good comments on having him on. It was a really good podcast there.
I think we'll get him back on for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, guys that want to know about places he's flown, like G's and what's the craziest thing he's ever done in an airplane. I'm like, all right, next time I'll ask those questions.
Did you put it in your notes?
Yeah, I got it.
At least the craziest things he can tell us.
The craziest things he can tell us, yeah. It was pretty cool, but yeah, it was. It's just been work, dude. That's it, just working, and I'm changing a turbo out in a little Chevy Cruze. If any of you guys have a Chevy Cruze out there, I'm pretty sure you've had to deal with a turbo. Apparently, it's a common problem for these Chevy Cruze turbos to go out, but it's a pain. Getting it going.
Did you get it done?
So I got the turbo back.
I know you were tearing into it. You had it off yesterday and then sending me pictures of it. Did you get it switched out?
Yeah. I got it back in. I'm putting the catalytic converter on, and there's this big, huge clamp that clamps it to the turbo. Mm-hmm. So I got it all tightened down, and then I crawled underneath the car to hook it back to the exhaust pipe. And apparently I need to twist the catalytic converter. So I got to undo that clamp and try to twist the catalytic converter so it'll match up. Mm-hmm. And I think I tightened the clamp too tight, so now the bolt's all screwed up and I can't get it to come back out so I can loosen it. So
you made it too tight, or did you cross thread it?
I don't know. It might have done a little of both.
Yeah, great, huh?
So I'm like, screw it. I'm going to go set up for this, and I'll deal with that in a minute.
Can you just do it without?
Without what?
Just abandon the catalytic converter.
No, because it connects. I'd have to run a new. I'd have to go find exhaust.
Can you just get a straight piece of exhaust and just band it on or weld it?
No, I don't think so.
No.
It's.
All right.
It would be a lot more work to try to go get a pipe that would turn and bend and then hook up to the.
Oh, so it's not just a straight piece of exhaust pipe.
No, it's just the catalytic converter. Yeah. Like they have it coming straight off the turbo, and then it drops down in front, like right down the motor, and then it's got a little elbow at the bottom, and it connects right up to the. Like this one, you know how people are going around stealing, like they jump underneath trucks and stuff.
On my work truck got stolen.
Yeah, this is actually right. You'd have to pop the hood, and it's right there. Right behind the fan motor.
So you know why they take catalytic converters?
It's because it's got copper in it, or it's got something in it.
Some different ones have different stuff. Yeah, platinum.
Yeah.
And then there's a certain, I can't remember what the other metal was called. Something else. But yeah, it's like platinum and then one other one. But it's only in certain year trucks that they did it. So the gas trucks of from I want to say on Fords is 2000 to whatever year, couple year span right there, has the most or whatever. Okay. So these tweakers and criminals find that out, and it's not hard to get to. They slide up underneath there with a sawzall.
Yeah.
Sawzall one side off, sawzall the other side off. It drops down. They pull it out. They're done within minutes.
Oh yeah. And I've seen a few videos.
We have a camera. And you can see the guys come down from the one side of the street up and over, and then they walk, and the one's got a backpack. He never looks up. He's there's two dudes. The reason I found out is I came to work in the morning and was walking out to start my truck, and I look at the ground, and you could see like it looked like somebody crawling underneath there, and they use like push with your feet and your heels, and it left like those marks in the dirt.
Right.
And I was like, what? And we had a truck at work at the custodial shop.
Okay.
He'd already got tagged.
Oh.
And so we fixed his. They caught them dudes. Dude, I went and looked up the camera because I guess I'm the techie guy. And so they're like, hey, can you come get the camera? And the cops were there. And so they gave me a thumb drive and we loaded up there. Dude, they pull up right next to it. It's on a Sunday, so there's nobody working at the county offices. Rolls up. The dude jumps out of the passenger side, goes around the car, gets down underneath there, cuts it all off. The one dude's sitting in the car, the window's down, and he's just sitting there waiting. The camera's right on it.
It's a getaway car, ready to go.
He was too, because when they arrested that guy, he's like, I don't even really know him. We were just hanging out and blah blah blah, whatever it was. But then shortly after, I jump in. So I looked, and I was like, and I went to start my truck up, and it's like blah, 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 all loud. I was like, turn it off. I'm like, go back in. They're like, told the boss. I'm like, yep, somebody cut the catalytic converter off of mine also. And they're like, what? And then you could see on the passenger side where all the
scuff marks and stuff were.
Yeah. And it looked like the Sawzall didn't make it all the way through. And so they were like having to kind of wrench on it because you could see where they had to like break, how like the piece of that steel gets like bent out and then it's like got a little
batteries died.
Yeah, or something. But and then when I climbed over there and looked, there's a Sawzall blade.
Just laying on the ground?
Just laying on the ground underneath my truck.
Maybe it just broke.
It wasn't broke. Fell off, unlatched or something. I think they just get. I mean, you got to think like they're like, it's not quiet.
No,
running a Sawzall on
metal, especially right.
And so it's got to be quick. And so once you shut it off, you don't want to fire it back up, so you just wrench on it, and there it went. Stole it. So we just straight piped it. Put the pipe on there and welded it up. When they fixed my truck, I was out of town, and so I got a little exhaust leak, but they're not muffler guys.
I think there's some states that you don't. I mean, there's not emission. We have emissions like up north, but like here in Sevier County, they don't do emissions tests.
Yeah, so. You could definitely. That's what I was asking, because if it was a straight one, you could just take it off.
Right.
Because we don't have it here either.
Yeah.
This area.
But then you have they have their sensors on there, so I'd have a check engine light because I think the sensor wouldn't be working.
Yeah, I think you can bypass it, like you can ground it out or do something with it.
Because
I know, like
paperclip in there.
Yeah, I don't even think those diesel trucks, did they even have them? I imagine they probably did.
A catalytic converter?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Huh.
You have one.
Well, I cut all my stuff out though.
Oh yeah.
So if it did have one,
because you did the Max Flow, or was it Max Flow?
Mega Flow. Is it
Mega Flow exhaust?
Meg Flow, yeah, Mega Flow exhaust. So I cut it. I hacksawed it like in 3 different places and unbolted it and dropped everything out and then just gutted all of it out and put a new one in.
But you don't have a check engine light on for an O2 sensor or anything. Huh.
No. Now, the new thing is everybody's got to delete. They go through and delete the trucks and all that stuff so they don't have to use that DEF.
Oh, okay.
The diesel exhaust fluid.
Okay.
Is what DEF stands for.
Right.
So now they're having it. Basically what it is a fluid that I want to say it because they have to burn off the excess fuel.
Yeah. Because it's like reburning the exhaust, so it's not as gosh, what is it?
It's less emissions.
Yeah, emissions. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when they delete it, then they don't got to do it anymore. But I guess it like voids the warranty on your truck or something. But then they go in and then you can just. So there's places that won't buy them. Like one of the guys out at work, he took his Dodge in. The guy's like, he was like lifted. It's all fancy. It looks good. And he took it in, and then when he pulled up to it, and he, rolled around the corner and it coughed out smoke. Pulled it in, and the guy came out and was like, "I can't even buy that from you." He's like, "What?" Because it's
rolling coal.
It's all deleted and everything. Yeah. So he couldn't. I mean, he could buy it personally for himself or for a kid or something, but
Right, he could put it up for sale by
he
owner.
can't throw it on the lot.
Can't trade it in.
Yeah.
Oh
no.
man.
Yeah. So they got to be careful with that.
Well, there was a thing a couple years ago where they were saying that deaf, you weren't gonna be able to get it. There was like they were holding back on it or something they were making it like a big scare that there was going to be a lot of shortage. They're going to be on.
I don't even know what this stuff's made of.
I don't know, but
goat piss probably.
Couple years ago we had we rented a truck at UPS. It was a white one, that just a box truck, and I'm cruising along up the Moroni and everything, and I'm coming back into Manti, so I'm about halfway home, 30 miles away from Salina, and all of a sudden the truck was like, and like lights came on and everything. I'm like, what is going on? So I pulled over into a mechanic shop, but it was dark, it was late, but I knew the mechanic. I called him. He's like, I'm not there, I'm at some meeting, I'll be there in like an hour. And I called the mechanic and I was like, dude, does this thing take DEF? And he's like, yeah, you should be okay. I'm like, I don't think it is.
Goes into limp mode.
It went way into limp mode. I mean, I was barely moving like 15 miles an hour at the most. And so another driver was coming through and picked me up, and we ran over to the gas station, and then I bought a box of DEF that they had at the top stop there, put it in there, fired right up, took off. It was all good to go. And you only put like, what is it, like 3 gallons or 2.5 gallons in one of those boxes?
Yeah, because I think it's like you get like 6 tanks of gas per thing of DEF, per tank of DEF, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, so that was new to us, but I also know that now at Maverick, at least the Maverick in Salina, they've got, it's like a gas pump. It's like a normal pump. You hit your unleaded, you hit your diesel or whatever it is. Over on the diesel sides, I guess you get your diesel and stuff, and then you can just hit DEF and then just pump it right out. And they do it by the gallon.
So you got to dump it in by the box. So it says that it is diesel exhaust fluid is a liquid used to reduce the amount of air pollution created by a diesel engine. Specifically, DEF is an aqueous urea solution made with 32.5 urea and 6.75 deionized water. So you're basically, it's only 32% of, I don't know what, it's UREA, urea. Urea? Does that sound about right?
My guess.
Is that how you pronounce that? Urine?
Oh.
Basically. No, I don't know.
So just pee in it. We don't need DEF, just pee in it. Urine.
Dude. But it's crazy because you're paying 67.5% of it's deionized water.
Right. It's just what does it do? When you got water, does that just knock your emissions down and keep it low instead of going in the air? It makes it heavier.
I don't know how it works, dude. That's it seems like, well, because apparently it must do something with the exhaust, because if you delete it, you don't use it anymore. I thought it was to cook off something.
Yeah, no, we used to have some trucks.
Oh my gosh, dude. I wasn't off. I wasn't that far off, dude.
Okay.
It says urea is technically derived from the byproduct of urine, but for mass production purposes, it is synthetically made. Dude, so you really could just stuff your plum in there, dude, and just take a piss.
Well, that's 100% urine, not 30%.
Is it? I mean, but drink some more water. I don't know. You want some high octane? Slam a Rain or a Monster, dude, and just piss in it. Oh my gosh.
5-hour energy drinks that the truckers all drive, they'd be like,
yeah.
It's like
just says DEF is a urea-based solution that reduces nitrogen oxide from diesel exhaust.
Huh.
Oh my gosh, dude, you're just burning piss.
Synthetic.
Oh my, synthetic urine is what you guys are buying. Oh, how's that make everybody feel? Be like,
Nice.
yep, just dumping in another 2.5 gallons of piss. Golly. So see, dude, the next time you get that truck and it doesn't, if it's low on def, let it run out and then just stick your diz in there.
Oh, dude.
And take a leak and
See
see if it'll take off, if it'll reset and
a
start
rental.
going.
Why
You ain't gonna
not?
hurt it. I don't think. I mean, it has to do for exhaust purposes, the diesel.
Right.
So it's after it's already.
It's a,
I would
after
assume
starting
after
fire.
it's already.
Right.
Yeah, it's already burning. It's coming through the exhaust, and so it's adding it to that and burning it off. So, dude, just take. I don't know, man. I know some buddies that I wonder if they let me take a piss in it. Or maybe it would be better if they did it themselves.
You might want to
I'm
use
like,
it
I know
on-
this might be weird, so you can pee in your own truck.
Run up to guys at the gas station. Hold on.
Yeah,
Don't waste
dude,
your money.
yeah,
Don't waste
you
your money.
Buy me a Monster and I'll take a whiz in the side of your truck. Inside of it.
Oh, man. I've been
Dude,
drinking
that's
distilled
crazy.
water all day.
Yeah. Dude, I've been slamming a bunch of water. It's good. With some liquid IV. even
Oh,
better.
dude.
So, speaking of piss,
wow.
yeah, just roll with it.
Just keep
Everybody does it.
Everybody
Now trucks
does
have to burn it. So,
it.
what's the world coming to? Just so we don't get what I say it was. Nitrogen. No. What I say was in the air.
Nitrogen oxide.
You having to put piss in there so you don't nitrogen oxide from diesel. Whatever the hell that. I don't know. We could get out as a rabbit hole. Now I got to look up what nitric oxide does, like what it's doing.
No, I thought we were talking about piss.
What's the negative of that? I know I was saying you could just start going down a rabbit hole and
Right.
try to figure this shit out.
Yeah.
And all it is just piss. You're burning urine. They try to fancy it up like deer tay. It's like, don't fancy it up, dirt. You know. So, speaking of peeing, okay, have you ever weighed yourself at night? Or say in the evening, right?
Yeah.
You're done. Like you've gone the day, you've eaten, you've drank water, milk, whatever it is. Everything's you've stuffed in your pie hole. You've consumed, right?
Yeah.
And you weigh at night.
Yeah.
And say you weigh, I don't know, 225.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
How is it then when you get up in the morning and you weigh
You're 2 pounds less.
and you're a couple pounds lighter?
Right.
How? Say, for instance, so we can eliminate some of the stuff. Like I'm going to say this. Didn't wake up to take a piss at night. We'll take that out of the equation. And I didn't sweat. So we'll take that out of the equation.
You don't know if you did or didn't sweat.
Well, I mean, my sheets aren't wet.
I know, but
I'm just saying if you sweat for 2 pounds, like, good on you. That's impressive.
I
2
think
pounds
what
of
happens
water,
is,
2 pounds of water is like,
but you also
Yeah.
haven't had any water
Yeah.
for what 8 hours? You know, if you're sleeping 8 hours, your body's just using that up. Like it's
Right.
coming, it may be coming out not as sweat, but you're getting rid of.
so you think you evaporate water
You're
at
burning
night?
it off. You're burning off. Your metabolism's burning.
Yeah, but where's it going?
It's just coming out of your pores. Just
So you
coming
think
out.
you evaporate water?
I think so.
Oh.
I sweat
Think
like
about
crap.
that.
Mine sweat.
No, I know.
I know
you sweat
mine
'cause
sweat.
Mine is not, dude. I have a fan on, and I put my house at 66 at night.
But you got to think your body's taking everything into that you've taken in that day with your food and everything like that, and it's breaking it down to the smallest molecules it can.
Yeah,
And
but where
then
did the other molecules go?
That's
They're
what
still
goes into your
inside of you.
poop, and that's what goes
That's
into your
in
pee.
you.
I
That's
know,
in you.
but it's using most of it. Your body, your heart is pumping. Things
Yeah.
are moving. Like you got to think though. Like let's use a car for an example. You put 30 gallons of fuel in there. And you're
Yeah.
driving, and everything's just a moving, and you're not.
Yeah,
putting
but you're
out,
burning it and exhausting it.
right. Exactly.
So
How
you
much
think,
does exhaust
you think
weigh?
We're losing,
How much
you
does
think we're
exhaust
losing
weigh?
weight because we're breathing?
Breathing. It's a
But
gas.
a gas engine is combustible, so you're taking and you're causing a liquid into gas.
That's true.
And
but
then
your body's
so
turning
you're
a
burning it off.
solid
It's burning.
into a something.
Poop,
I'm not a doctor.
a paste.
Well, it's got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's going into your 14-foot of colon or whatever you got.
yeah, and I
that's
understand
but
that's
I mean,
still
think
there.
about it. Like, I don't understand it. I still can't wrap my head around it because I get maybe like what you're saying. That does kind of give me an idea. Like, okay, maybe you do evaporation, you know, because you have to. I guess you probably are using. Your skin has to stay moist.
Yeah, and your
Right.
blood. I
So,
think a lot of
blood's
that stuff
inside,
you're eating
but I think like skin, I could see you losing fluid because your skin, like your body, is keeping your skin
Cool.
soft or like moist, cool. Yeah, so you are. There's probably some sort of precipitation that is happening while you're sleeping, even if you're not sweating. Now, in your case, yeah, you probably sweat that.
Yeah.
You probably are a gallon. You're probably a pound lighter than I am just due to sweating.
Yeah. If
But
I weigh
still,
at night
dude,
and I go in the morning, it's 2 pounds.
Yeah. I want, dude, that's 2 pounds, dude. Look at what 2 pounds, like a 2 pound.
But you're
weight.
also not putting anything in your body. So if you weigh at night, you've put in so much food that's solid.
Yeah.
Solid food
Yeah.
that weighs, whatever. And then your body's breaking that down into either a liquid or a gas or anything like that. It's taking it from its biggest molecule that it is,
Yeah.
and your body's breaking it down into the smallest molecule. And I'm going to say percentages of those are going through your bloodstream. It's fuel. Your heart's using fuel. So whether
But
we're
I
not,
think
I
that-
know we're not combustible.
Yeah,
like a
I think
gas
that
engine.
analogy though is like the way I look at that in difference is okay. If I took a 5-pound bowling ball, okay,
Yeah.
and I dumped it into a bag,
Uh-huh.
how much does it weigh?
5 pounds.
Okay, if I took
A sledgehammer.
700 marbles,
Bashed it up.
I put 700 marbles and dumped them into the bag, and it weighs 5 pounds, which is more.
They're both 5 pounds.
Correct. So that's what I'm saying. That in my mind, when I think about, I can see losing some of it, like because what
But
you're
it's
talking
not. But
about.
that
you
doesn't break
you can't
down.
say because it. But I know. So okay. So then your analogy would be: I take a 5-pound bowling ball and I smash it with a hammer,
Right, but nothing's.
and I have it in that bag.
that.
You think we lose 2 pounds in like breathing it out and sweating, or
Breathing, sweating,
precipitation.
dehydration. I mean, it's not dehydration, but you're dehydrating your body while you sleep because you drink water all day long. You drink fluids all day long.
Yeah.
So
I pee it out.
right. You pee it, you sweat it. Your body uses it to cool itself. I mean, it's like think about an evaporator. Like a swamp
I think I
cooler.
can see that. I can see that part of it. But dude, the food in and the bloodstream and all that stuff, it's staying inside of you. So it has to be what you're breathing and then the stuff coming out of your.
Okay,
pores.
but then let me ask you this: when you look at your plate of food,
Yeah.
you're sitting there and you've got a potato, you've got a 16-ounce steak, 8-ounce steak, whatever it is, and you eat everything on your plate, right?
Yeah.
And look at that.
So I can get dessert.
And then when you poop, you got like a log this
Whoa.
long. So it's like,
Listen.
so I mean,
some people poop bigger than others. I'm just saying.
but what I get
Right,
it.
but you can't do it that way because your body takes nutrients and everything out of it and then uses it to build proteins, which is the steak and all that stuff is going to your muscles,
I get
adding
it.
weight.
Right. Well,
But it's
yeah.
staying inside of you internally. So the only thing that I can agree with you on, or like in that makes sense to me, I guess I should say not agree with you, but like makes sense to me, is that it's like an exhaust, like the stuff you're breathing out, you're losing some, and the moisture on your body, the evaporation part of it. You know what I mean? Like that fluid is coming out of you. Your body's using it and pushing it out of your pores.
Right. But I
Right.
think there's
The
a lot
food
of stuff
thing,
that
I think the food stuff stays in you. Yeah, you break it down, but it's using it.
it's using a percentage of it, but
Right,
once
'cause
it's used, it's gone.
Correct, but it has to come out of you. It has to exit out of you, which is that's in the morning you got to get up and poop or whatever.
I guess. Because I mean, if you if you
Freaking
dissolve,
nuts, dude.
if you
It's
take,
just, dude, that's just the thing I thought of the other day. I was like, I wait.
because if you take sugar, put it in a glass of water,
Yeah.
right? You have granules that are solid. The water dissolves it into a liquid,
Yeah.
and then the liquid evaporates. If you were to put a cup of sugar in water, make it all dissolve, let it all evaporate. When it's all said and done, cook it, do whatever you want with it. You're not going to have a cup of sugar. There will not be a cup of solid sugar.
You've evaporated stuff out of it,
right?
You've taken it from.
But
a
your
solid
body
to a
does that
liquid,
with
but it's
everything
open.
in your body, like everything you eat, with your steaks, with your
But if you were to
with your
take
sandwich, with your bread.
but that's what I mean. I think it's the seeping part of it, like the moisture of your skin. I don't.
Yeah.
It's
Anal
like food.
seepage,
If you,
all that
if
stuff.
You did what? The what?
All the
Say
anal seepage.
Dude, that's
it's
why
got to
you
get
lose
out.
more
It's
weight
got to get
than
out.
me
It's got to get
by the
out.
morning. It just is amazing to me, dude. I mean, I can see the human body's amazing. Like, when, you know what I mean? Like, God built an amazing body for sure, because not only in that, there's this dude, and this is going to be a little off course, but it has to do with what we were talking about, like body-wise. You want to talk about dehydration and stuff? There's this guy, like, that was, like, passed out in the building next to the one we were working on at 270.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's been hotter than balls here.
Right.
And I thought the dude was dead. Like, I thought I was going to have to do a welfare check, dude. So this guy, we call him Mr. Burns. I've talked about him before.
Okay.
Right. You probably
Like, he's at his own house. This isn't.
No.
Oh.
It's right here on Main Street.
Okay.
On 270 Main it's out in the business section.
Okay.
And I'm doing work, and I pull my truck up, and this dude is asleep. There's like a little cove, like a little, like a little entryway thing on the building next to it, the 290 building.
Okay.
So it's coved out. It's in the shade. It's in the shade, at least. It's got a little deck on the top. This dude's laying on the concrete in boots, Levi's, a long sleeve shirt, and a leather vest.
Okay.
And he's got his hat. It's an orange Denver Broncos hat.
Oh,
And that's what his head's laying on. And his arms behind him, and he's just laying on this concrete.
Does he
Like
work
his
there?
arms? No, he's homeless. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
He's a squatter. I've
Oh,
seen him
okay.
before. He's been in jail before. Seen him. And I call him Mr. Burns because he had so I'll give you a quick background. He had I believe they said it was his wife that he was married to. I called her Mrs. Burns. That's where it all started. Because remember on The Simpsons, Mr. Burns?
Yeah.
The old bald guy, and his
Bald-headed guy.
neck was all long and way out front.
Pointy
She
nose.
looked just like him.
Oh, okay.
So, dude, I'm like,
she looked like Mr.
She
Burns.
looked like Mr. Burns, so then he is just guilty by association.
Gotcha.
So he's Mr. Burns. And they would walk down the street and stuff and just be fighting. And she would just look, and you felt bad for her because it's just like he was just chewing her ass. And they're walking, and then soon he's storming in front of her, and she's 10 feet behind him. And she's just Mr. Burns in the lawn, and he's just cussing and just head out. Dude, and she shaved her head one time, and it was made it even worse. More Mr. Burns. It was, I couldn't. There's no other way to explain it. She looked just like from the side profile. If it was a silhouette, you would think it was she was the character.
Yeah.
And so, this dude, we always used to be like, oh man, I feel so bad for her. No, opposite. She would whip his ass, stabbed him with a knife.
Oh my!
Got thrown in jail a couple years back. Then just recently did again, and now it's a second offense, and so she has to go. She went to the big house, dude.
Oh.
She's in prison.
3 meals a day, bud.
Now. Oh yeah, he was in a wheelchair for a long time. She shanked him up, dude. Yeah, and so now he's partially blind, and I don't know if it was from the stabbing. I don't know what's happening there. Could be possibly the over drinking every day.
Right.
And just passing out anywhere. I've seen him sleeping in rocks.
Okay.
Big river rocks.
Oh, this is it.
Here is where I'm shutting her down. Just lays there, dude. Cane and all. Now he sleeps on this bench down there, and it's nuts. So he has a lot. I'll see him coming, and he gets them Mickeys. The 40s.
Yeah.
The cheap
Right.
40-ounce beers. He'll get like, sometimes you'll see him coming out with like 2 of them. And
Right.
just gets absolutely annihilated. And then I come to work Friday morning and I come around the corner and there he is. And I'm like, okay. So I kind of just like walk around him. He doesn't move. Go in there. I'm doing some work. I got to come back out to my truck. This has been like a couple hours now. I come back out of the building, get
Mr.
my
Burns,
truck, and I look over. Still laying, same position, hand behind him, like just like back in his head, just laying on this orange hat.
Okay.
And it's like, I don't know, 70 something degrees, 80 degrees.
Right.
So finish doing my thing, get ready. I come back for, I think I come out. Now it's like almost lunchtime.
Yeah.
A little afternoon. It's probably like 90 degrees outside.
You're in the upper 80s, yeah.
Yeah. And I come around the corner. I come and I look over there, and he has not, his hand, everything is still in the same place. I'm like, this mofo is dead. I'm like, and I'm an asshole that let him sit here for 4 hours.
4 hours.
Just starting to swell up and stink.
Oh, man.
So I gotta be a good person. So I'm like, I start walking up there, dude. I'm like, I'm gonna have to come up here and like check his pulse.
Oof.
You know, voice myself first, like announce that I'm about to put
hands on
him. You know what I mean? So I start walking up there, and dude, I'm like, oh gosh, I don't do this, man. He's gonna smell. I got this thing about smelling. I got this thing about touching dirty people. I mean, I got the whole thing going through my head. All my like germophobia stuff.
Are you kicking your feet? You like making noise as you're getting up there?
I have, dude. I my truck is parked. I mean, I've slammed bins in my truck, and it's literally in the parking stall right in front of me.
Okay.
There's a cement walkway.
Okay.
Is the only distance. I'm maybe 15 feet. And I've closed the door. I've driven up there, stopped, and got out. And I've gotten out. And then, you know, my metal bends are dumb as shit anyways. I have to slam them like 3 times to get them to lock.
Okay.
And this dude ain't moved.
Right.
Ain't even made I was like, great. So I'm kicking my feet, like dragging up there, like, oh man, please, dear Lord, like give me a sign. Like, and I'm trying to look with like as close as I can to see if he's breathing. And I'm like, oh no, I seen him breathe. Twitch, something, like fart, whatever, dude. I don't care. Just I'm like, dear Lord, please. I'm not shitting you, dude. One finger goes on his hand, and I'm like, yep, good enough. He's alive.
Well, that's a twitch. That doesn't. That could be.
Turn around,
no, involuntary muscle.
No, dude. It's his body twitching. Usually they don't when they go that way. It's not like because it's not like a sudden death.
Right.
So
right.
It's not like the muscles don't sit there
and
twitch and atrophy and all that stuff. So his finger moved.
Yeah.
I turned around and got in and went to lunch.
And then after lunch, was he still there?
Yeah, he was still there.
Same spot.
He was there till I left. Let's see, I had to go run and get some parts and stuff. So I probably got out of there about 1:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still there. But I did drive down that way. I had to go, what was it? Oh, when I was working on the church Saturday, he wasn't there anymore.
Yeah, no, they just hauled him
At
off.
some point. I don't know. Either he got up on his own too and left, or the meat wagon came and got him. But I'll find out Monday.
You go driving by on Saturday, it says corner, you're like, dang it.
It's nuts, man. It is. There's so much that happens on Main Street. Like, there's these 2 Indians that were across the street. And this, by the way, is like, either they had continued, the night was still going, or they were getting an early start.
Okay.
Because they're sitting across the male and female. And they do have, they have some tall boys. Like the Mickey's, the aluminum can ones. Apparently Mickey's must be the cheapest beer you can buy. Is what I'm assuming. And, dude, they're over there in front of the insurance place that's right across the street. There's a picnic bench.
Okay.
And it's 7 a.m.
Oof.
Right around there is maybe 6:45 when I got to the 270 building to start. And I've now been working in there, and I'm coming out to get some tools or whatever out of my truck. And by this time it's 8:30. 8:45 or something. It's maybe like an hour and a half. And they're just slurred speeching, and she's wanting him to kiss her, and they're just hammered drunk. And I'm just like, good grief, dude. There's been so much. I had a lady try to get in my truck. I think I told you that.
I don't think you did.
What?
No.
You forgot?
You did
not. I saved it for this moment.
You went on vacation, and I haven't talked to you.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, so, dude, the one of the Mexican guys that's out there working on the stucco, he was putting up the chicken wire.
Okay.
Comes in, doesn't really speak a whole lot of English. But he's all, Senora. I was like, what? There's a lady getting in your truck. I was like, what?
Wow.
Somebody trying to get in your truck. And I was like, Mike's like, what? And so Mike goes out first. And there's this lady, and she's on my passenger side of my truck.
Like she's in it?
No, it was locked.
Oh, okay.
Luckily, she didn't go to the driver's side because it's never locked. So she would have been in my truck. So she's standing there, and she looks up and sees Mike, and I'm coming out behind him. So Mike walks out there first, and she stops and looks, but she's standing right at my truck.
Right.
She's trying the door handle.
Yeah.
And Mike's like, hey, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I need a ride. And he's like, well, we can't give you rides. And he's like, you trying to get in that truck? She's all, yeah, because I need a ride. And he's like, no, we're not able to give rides with these. And she's like, what do you mean? He's like, look, see, it says right here, official use only. And she's like, she kind of gets a little angry from it. Oh, good. Yeah. Is that what you're telling me? No, I can see that. And I'm just like, ooh, okay. So now I'm standing there, and Mike's like, yeah. And so Mike just dude, he just ghosts. It doesn't when we're at a job and somebody's talking, because he's partly deaf.
Right.
And they'll be sitting there talking, and he doesn't even really hear him. And so he'll just walk off. And so then I'm just standing there, and then I have to finish the conversation of where they left off, or say what they're saying so that he knows what she's saying. Because
I'm sure he's ghosting it. He's just over it. He's just like,
he is
whatever.
Too. But I think he just plays it off. Yeah, he gets me, dude, every time. So he does the same thing to this broad. He's just like, yeah, we can't do that. She's like, that's the story, huh? And he's like, yeah.
Yep.
And then he just walks off around and goes over to his truck to start getting some tools. So then she walks up to me, and she's well into my comfort zone right off the bat. She's in my bubble.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I take 2 steps back as she gets closer to close to me. And I'm like, well, I go, where are you from? And she's like, oh, here, well, Carson, I'm in Carson or something, she says. And I'm like, no, you're in Fallon. Yeah, I need a ride to Carson. I'm like, oh yeah, we can't. I'm like, and I almost said, well, you want me to call the police? But she was kind of on the edge. You could tell she was kind of ornery with Mike.
Right.
And so I didn't, then I decided not to go that route. So she takes another step to me, and then goes to lean on what she thought was the post for the deck, because it's 2 stories.
Okay.
So there's a post right there that's holding. So she tries to go to lean on it, but she's about 8 inches off.
That's a lot.
So I go, she starts to fall backwards, and I in my first instinct, it was oh, I'm going to grab her and save her. And I'm like, nope, because then she's going to say something go off and say, I pushed her down or some shit.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah. And she caught herself after a couple feet. Whoa.
Okay.
I thought she would go down, but she caught herself before it.
That's good.
And then I could smell it when she comes up the next time. She is blitzed, just hammered
in the morning.
And I was, it's
still morning time.
It's still morning time. This is before 8 o'clock. And I'm like, well, is there somebody I can call? I can call and try to get you a ride or something. No. Well, you're such a sweetheart. And then she was nice about it. I was like, all right, cool. I'll keep backing up because she keeps getting closer. So then she's like, I got to just get the F out of here. I'm like, okay, cool.
See ya.
And I'm like, I'm like, well, if we don't can't call nobody. She just turns off, and she's just pinballing back and just zigzagging down through the sidewalk, heading down there. Oh yeah, dude. If she would have on the driver's side, I'm pretty sure I would have came out to her just passed out in my truck.
Oh, jeez.
Probably, who knows?
Then you would have called the cops. You'd been
Pissed
like, "Hey,
herself. I'll be like, hey, there's somebody's passed out in my truck. But yeah, dude, there's a lot that goes on down there, and apparently it all has to do with a lot of drinking, excessive
of course,
drinking.
yeah."
Apparently. I don't even know how that's even the happening place, but
Well, they probably drink a lot during the day, so they don't really feel the heat. They don't really, whatever they're up, and then at night they just sleep it off when it's cool.
got to stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated.
Stay Mickey, so.
Man, I mean, if Def wanted to, a pure supply of piss, they could just start running homeless people through there.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start getting those the empties, you see them at the gas station.
Right.
Because people go in and buy them and then just leave them by the garbage.
Right.
I'm just going to go set those underneath the benches over there.
Just
and then it'll just
catch everything.
Put like a little funnel. Because sometimes they just sit there. You'll go by and it looks, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, dude, I don't want to know. Gosh.
And it's on the ground.
Do you guys have a county or a city person that just has like a pressure washer that just goes around and pressure washes stuff like every day? Because I know in San Francisco they actually hire people
they
to
do.
go
Ours
around
isn't.
picking
Ours
up
is
stuff.
not that bad. I have not gone by and seen human shit or anything like that. But I'm pretty sure like Mr. Burns has been drunk enough and he's been laying on that bench and pissed himself.
Dude.
It ain't like because there's like some wet underneath there and I don't see any water bottles or anything like that.
Or sprinklers or nothing.
No, there's no sprinklers. But dude, you'll go by, that dude will be sitting there with a blanket over to keep the sun off him. And it's still 60, 70 degrees in the morning, It's plenty warm. But I don't know how they do it. Yeah. So that's the downtown scoop on that. And they're putting the health department and social services right there. So they're going to get a lot of random.
Do you think that, and this is, I don't know, it's just a question, but do you think that a lot of homeless people and I don't know, what do you call them, travelers, whatever, but they put themselves in a position on Main Street so that they can be seen more, they might get more handouts, they might get
for sure
more help?
100%, just from being,
because you never see them on the side
right
roads.
there. No, there's a few, but I think they choose to be that way. Like there's one guy that runs around all the time, and he has a bike and like a little trailer thing that has a bunch of stuff on it and a basket, and he's got a little like Bluetooth stereo, like one of those little Beats speakers, and a phone. And so he's getting some assistance or some money from somewhere, but he'll go down to the river that's out on the highway, and you'll see him crawling up from the river after he's got a good washing done.
Yeah.
He'll be all washed up, but he lives.
He's a civilized homeless person.
Well, he has bad days, good days. Some days he's out on the street yelling and cussing and swearing at everybody.
Gosh. Yeah.
Other days he's super cool. He'll sleep in the little cubby in the little cove area of the library.
Okay.
Plugs his stuff in. He has his phones and his speaker plugged in right there, and he sleeps right up there on the concrete.
Okay.
And then he just gets up, puts his stuff, and he'll come by, and he'll say, "Hey, how's it going? Oh, that looks fun." He'll make some comment about what we're doing or working on something. Other times he don't say a word, doesn't want to wave, and then he's out there piping off and cussing and having a fight with nobody except
voices in his head.
Yeah, 100%. So I think he has good days, but I don't know if he's medicated. But he's getting something because he's got a phone. He's listening to music and doing all that stuff. But there are some, like even they've stopped at like Tasha's office and stuff, and they, asking like where social services, and they'll be like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry." And he's like, and she's had a couple people be like, even like a younger kid was like, "Oh no, I choose to be. They just don't want to be tied down by anything. They don't want to work. They don't want to have, responsibility." But I feel like there's a lot better ways to go about it than that. Like due to the sleeping stuff, there's an old guy that sleeps in front of the Life Center. Has all his stuff piled in the corner. The girls even wanted us to put a locker in, and we're like, we can't. This isn't a homeless shelter.
Right.
But this dude has a little walker thing. He gets around fine, but he's on a walker, old guy. sleeps on the bench underneath there. It is nasty looking underneath it.
Oh,
This
gosh.
bench is dirty, gross now. He goes in and sleeps in the. We've had to throw couches away, chairs away, because it's like dirt stained. I feel like one time he peed in a chair.
And he's sleeping inside of what?
Inside the building. He waits. He sleeps out on the bench at night.
Yeah.
He'll go get up when it's 7 o'clock, and he goes and wheels his little 4-wheeled cart thing.
Yeah.
Like the little walker.
Get him some tennis balls.
Yeah, he goes right by the walker and sits 6 inches from the door, because the lady's supposed to be there at 7 to open the door.
Okay.
He'll stand there and be facing the door 6 inches from the door.
Wow.
Just waiting every morning. Then they come in, open the door. Dude rolls up in there and sleeps on the couch in there, or goes
And
get
what
some
building?
coffee.
Like what is
the live
going
center?
into?
It's like the senior center.
Oh, okay.
So they can come in and out, come and go. He kind of runs the whole thing. He's the only one that I know of. There may have been one other guy for a while, but he's a homeless dude, and he goes in there and just trashes them couches, just dirt balls them.
But they don't have does he do a shower in there? Does he?
Yeah, they had to close the one. He'd go in the laundry room. And he was like throwing laundry in there at one point. And they're like, dude, no, you can't.
He's trying to keep it civilized. He's trying to be clean.
Service, bro.
He's like, come on, let me do my laundry. Let me do my
Then he
laundry.
goes out in the corner and has a smoke. So, I mean, he gets, I don't know what kind of help he gets, but he buys smokes.
Do you guys have homeless shelters in Fallon?
No. They, I think the county did just buy like a apartment complex. So I think they're going to try to start moving them into there, which
Because we don't have homeless shelters here, but we just barely started getting people. I don't know, what do you call them? Vagrants? Do you call them homeless? Do you call them? Because they just kind of we don't have stuff. We don't have people that stay here all the time. Like you're able to name them. Like I think ours kind of come for a little while and they just move on.
So not knowing, at first, when I first started with the job I have now, they used to send them off. So
I put them in the paddy wagon and haul them off.
They would come into town and then they would give them some money.
Big town of Reno.
To Reno, yeah. So social services they would go and they would ask them for some help, and they'd be like, oh yeah, and they would get them a cart service that would take them to Reno, or they would give them some money.
Oh, okay.
And they would put them up in like a hotel for the night, and then they would give them a bus pass. But
Bus pass to anywhere?
Yeah, just to leave.
Like a bus pass out of Fallon?
Yep.
You guys have Greyhound that comes through
Yeah.
there? Or?
Yeah,
Really?
Goes right down and meets at the Jacksons. So they would just be like, oh yeah, I'll stay. They get freshened up, cleaned up, and then
Here's
they'd
$50
send
and
them-
a bus pass. See ya.
Yeah, there you go, and they just take their stuff and go.
Huh.
But I think something came down on it. I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can just ship off your homeless to other people or something. There's laws. There's laws about that.
I don't know, dude. You hear about all this stuff that when they're doing the immigration thing and they're busing people to New York and stuff, and New York's like, what the fuck? We don't.
So that's the reason they were doing that was because, from what I understood, was those states were putting all those bills and voting for those.
So they had
bills
the
and all that
funding
stuff
for
to
it.
be. Yeah,
Right.
And so they're like, well, fine. If you're saying, if you want to vote to say it's okay in your, House or Senate or whatever it is, and all those state representatives are saying, yeah, oh yeah, let them in, then they're like, okay, well, we're going to bring them to your state.
Right.
Because you're saying it's okay for Arizona,
Right.
Texas,
Texas and stuff like that.
all them. You're saying,
like-
they should let them in. Well, Texas and Arizona and them are having to foot the bill.
Right.
And all the people, and all the crime, and all the drugs, and all that stuff. So they're like, well, we're going to bust them in and take them to your districts or your states because you're the one voting that it should be fine, and let's do it. And so that's why they're hauling them. That's why they were doing that, is what I understood.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Wow.
But yeah. So
we got We got pretty deep in the homeless.
That's how
here.
the homeless stuff goes, dude. I got all kinds of all day. Hey, dude, sometimes I don't get much work done. I just look out the window and I'm like, what in the world are they doing over there? What is happening?
You should sell this stuff to like Netflix and be like, look, dude, we could do a whole show.
And it's not as bad as like San Francisco and stuff for sure, but it's funny because I never knew any of this stuff before I started maintenance.
Right. Well,
and
yeah.
now just being in downtown and in that area, just
working at
all of it.
And a lot of them hang out at the public buildings. They hang out at those buildings.
Because there's plugs and they can go in and out, air conditioned, heated in the winter, AC'd in the summer.
Laundry room somewhere.
Finding a laundry room at the senior center, dude. Who knows? Yeah. Well, yeah, dude. So we went. Moving on. We had our vacation. Went to Destin, Florida, which was epic.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
It looks great.
It was super fun. The water's clear. It's got that white sand, that fine.
This is like your second time, right? You went with mom and dad and brother Kevin and stuff.
Yeah.
Years ago.
2018.
Yeah.
Is when we went last time. We went to the Fud Puckers. Shout out. They put on a good little. It's a crazy place, man. So when you go in, it's huge. It's like this big old thing, but you go in there and it's packed, full
What's
of people.
It called? Fud Puckers.
Fud Puckers.
Fud Puckers.
Yeah, and you go put your name on the list. It's usually like, regardless, anytime that you get there, it's usually about an hour.
Okay. All right.
But then you go through, and it's like there's alligators through this whole place.
So you can go hang out and watch the alligators while you're waiting to get seated?
Yeah, there's a bar up there, full like square bar. They had like live music then, and there's like seating. You walk down through, they got like aquariums down there that have like baby gators in it. Two big ones, one albino one. Then you cruise around and you go and buy these bait sticks, and you buy packs of bait, and you hook them on the stick, and they're just rolled up like fiber. Not really. It's not like almost like paracord, a little bit stronger. And they tell you don't hook the alligators like this because you'll get in trouble for it, of course. And there's a pit down below in the middle of this place that there's hundreds of alligators in it. And so you take this bait, dude, you're basically, it's kind of a cool concept as they're raising, captivity. I mean, they're taking the small ones and going, I don't know if they let them out or if they bring them in, troubled ones. They're not huge. When we went in 2018, there were some big ones, like 6-footers, 4 or 5 6-footers. This one was like, they were only like 3 to 4 foot. It's like a smaller year of them, I guess.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like they weren't raised as big. I don't know if they make them go as big or whatever. But it's kind of a cool thing because you're like, I'm sure they're probably just some habitat thing. I'm sure they get checked and all that stuff. But all of us are paying and feeding them. So your food bill is definitely going to be lesser. You can eat alligator at the place, but they tell you specifically it's not the alligators being raised.
Okay.
So there's that. But you hook the bait to it, dude, lower it down into the water, and they'll all of a sudden they come up and eat the bait. And there's like turtles and stuff in there. And then like the one dude was so pissed at the turtle, he was like hovering around there waiting to get him some a treat, and the gator would come over and like try to bite the turtle, make him swim off, and then he'd come back, and then the alligator would snap at him again. Like, get out of here, I'm trying to get this.
Wow.
But yeah, dude, it's wild. It says then you just wait around and check it all. We took a picture, Alexis holding a live alligator, probably 4 feet long.
Nice.
3 to 4 foot long.
Do they tape the mouth shut while she's holding it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and he was a squirmy one, too. Like, he kept twisting around. They're strong little bastards. So, but they feel, dude, they're super smooth, but tough. Okay. So they're like cold. They're cold. When you feel them, they're cold. But when you rub them, they're super, like, smooth. You know what I mean? But they're like, hit a piece of wood hard on those ridges on their back,
Right.
but it's smooth. So they're cold and smooth, but hard. It's gnarly.
And then you guys rented a boat.
We did rent
While
a
you were
boat,
down
yeah.
there.
But I was gonna say on alligator, how long do you think a baby alligator, like the small ones that you see, they're only 2 feet, maybe tail to nose, even maybe a little less, 16 inches.
Okay.
Right there, those. How long do you think they can hold their breath underwater?
20 minutes.
Dude, that's what I thought.
Okay.
It's like 2 hours.
Are they holding their breath?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like they don't.
Dude,
There's
I
like
asked
alligators
you-
aren't like fish or
No,
fish. Like
no,
they don't.
They're not.
They have to
they're
hold their breath the
reptiles.
whole time they're
Yeah.
under there.
Yeah. It's crazy, dude. And then like the one she was holding, she goes, he can hold his at for like 4 to 6 hours. The bigger ones can go up to like 8 to 10 hours.
Just stay underwater.
Just stay underwater. Because we were watching these little ones, and they're just sitting down on the bottom.
Okay.
And then I'm like, so who knows how long they've been there? Because we just
Right.
came around and we're watching them. So we were guessing that too, and I was like, "Oh, look at those two are like having a challenge because their faces were right by each other." And so we were joking. I was telling Alexa, I'm like, "Oh yeah, this one's like, oh, I can go longer than you." And the other one's like, "Bullshit, I can hold it longer than you." And they're both just sitting under like holding each other's breath. So it's funny because they'll push their tail off the bottom because the air is not in them.
Right.
So they push them up, and you'll watch them come up, and just their little heads will pop up. And they'll take a breath of water, and you'll watch the whole rest of their body float to the top.
So they just bring their nostrils that are on
They
top
just
of
pull their nose
just-
up, and they pull the air in, and the rest
it
of their body
fills
comes
them
up.
Wow.
And then they somehow they'll kick themselves back down and just go to the bottom and sit. Hours for the little ones, and this because it's like they called it something I can't remember, but they'll get down there and they shut themselves down.
Right.
To where like their heart and brain is the only thing using
Oxygen.
any sort of oxygen.
Right.
So it's pretty wild, dude. So I just thought I'd throw that one out. But yeah, so then we stayed in Destin. There's like the Miramar is a beach that's further down that we've kind of found like to go to. So we were there, got there like on a Wednesday. We went to the beach like Thursday and I think Friday and found out there was a shark attack a few days before that. So that was cool. So that went over like a turd in a punch bowl when it comes to Tasha wanting to get into the water at all.
At all. Like
And it was,
ankle
I
deep.
guess it was a pretty good, I mean, I wouldn't say I guess it was. Like it was legit. Like so how it worked is just a couple miles down the beach from where we were at, there was a mom and her 2 daughters were out in the water
Yeah.
when the shark attacked. And so it got the one girl's leg and hand, and then it got her sister on the foot.
Okay.
I did not hear about how the foot thing went. They didn't say that she lost it, so I'm assuming that they probably just had to do some work to it.
Okay.
But her sister lost a leg and hand.
Oh, it was that bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a bite and go. It was
like he took the thigh.
Oh my.
And
How
then-
old were these kids?
15 and 17.
Oh my
But
gosh.
I could not tell you which one it was that lost the extremities. But then
Did they say how big
same
the shark
day-
was?
same day, just down less than a mile away, this old lady got bit by a shark. So basically 3 people got attacked.
Whoa. And this
They
was how
think it
long
was the
before you
same.
went there?
I thought they said Tuesday, and we got there on a Wednesday. Tasha thought it was Thursday. So that's like either 2 days prior or 4 days prior.
Okay. Either
You know
way.
what I mean?
2 to
Either
4
way.
days.
Yeah,
2 to 4 days.
it's pretty close. I thought the lady said Tuesday, and I was like, okay. Well, we'd already been in the water for a day and a half, so whatever. But not knowing that we were at Miramar and it was just down the beach from that one,
Okay.
which we're still on the same coastline. So
Right,
whatever.
exactly.
So they think it's a bull shark. Or actually, they know it was a bull shark. They tried to claim it was the same one, but I don't know how you would even know that. bite patterns, but you wouldn't even be able to biopsy that within those couple, 3-4 days. You know what I mean? So, anyways, bull shark, and that's what a lot of them like the attacks there. But all the fishermen dudes were like, well, yeah, because they've like taken away a lot of their permits,
Right.
Shark tags, I guess you call
Right.
them. Because you can go and get fishing, and you can fish for sharks, but there only are, I guess, a lot for so many shark tags now.
Right.
So like all the fishermen guys are like, yeah, it's gonna happen. Like we've noticed the flux in frequency of sharks during their fishing trips.
Okay.
So as they're fishing, say for red snapper, Spanish mackerel, or whatever they're fishing for, as they're getting these fish, shark encounters have been a lot more. They're basically because they're coming up and just eating the fish they're catching.
Right. So as they're pulling them in, the sharks are like, yeah, we're going to eat half of that.
He's like, and then we gut them and stuff and throw all the guts out. So he's like,
Chumming.
why wouldn't they hang around here? Yeah.
Right.
You know, there's stuff to eat. And then, like, there's, like, a breeding season and stuff like that. And so they move in closer to shore, I guess. But they said they've had a lot more encounters, like them hitting the side of the boats. And eating
So
their
why,
fish that they're
do you know,
catching.
did they say why they were limiting the permits
So
on the
they
fish?
were, I guess,
on the shark?
because they were saying that from one of the articles I read was because they were bordering the endangered list because of how many of like the counting of it. Like when they were counting them, I guess it like had gone down a lot. And so I guess if there's such a flux in it where it drops, then they eliminate tag. But I'm thinking to myself, dude, the ocean's huge.
Right.
Just because they're not right there doesn't
Right.
mean there's not, millions of them somewhere else, thousands of them somewhere else.
Exactly.
But apparently, I guess, I'm sure it's just like anything. They're not dumb. So if they're over there getting caught in Florida all the time on Destin, they're going to eventually kind of not be around.
Right.
But then all of a sudden you take tags out of there and they're like, hey, we can swim through here and have our babies and pair up and do all this stuff and not have any dangers. You're going to get more.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was a big deal. So we took and rented this boat, which is super cool. It's fun to do, man. If you ever go, it is worth doing it, paying the money to get a boat and go cruise around. And you kind of get to go up to like the piers and you can cruise up underneath the bridges. And then you can kind of go back. You can go inland more, and there's like where I guess it'd be like channels. It's like where the fresh water is coming into the ocean.
Right.
So there's still salt water and all that stuff, but you see dolphins and stuff. And then what are those whale kind of looking deals? Man, they got weird heads on them. They're not like seals. They're something else. What the heck are they called? I can't think of what they're called now.
Do they have like the mustache? The walruses?
No, they're not that. There's something they swim around. Manatees. Manatees. There's manatees up there.
Okay.
In that area, yeah.
See, I thought manatees were in cold water.
No, I guess they're up there because everybody kept asking us that, and I remember seeing on somewhere that there was manatees. Anyways, I really wanted them. I did and I didn't. The girls to see them.
Okay.
Because if they were to see one of those, they would shit.
Why?
And then never get back in the water. But it would be cool to see them. Because right after the shark attack thing, we had this boat and we rented like 2 paddle boards. And dude, Tasha was on.
So was it like this thing?
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, that's a manatee.
Yeah, that's them, dude. With the big old goofy looking mouth. So, yeah, so put in their search manatees in Destin.
Okay.
I bet there is. But this whole shark thing, first Alexa's out in the water. This is the day before we're on the beach and we heard about it. And she's like, you think there ain't no sharks out here? She's like piping off, yelling. And I'm like, hey. And Tasha gets after her. And I'm like, you can't be saying shark out here. Like there's been a shark attack. Everybody's on a high
Everybody's
alert.
already on
like
edge.
bombing an airplane, dude. No. So then she started saying, "You think there's any big fish?" I'm
Big
like, "No."
fish. Started calling them
Yeah.
big fish.
So we're out there on this boat, and they get the paddle boards out, dude. And Tasha falls off the paddleboard. She hits the water so fast and comes back up on the paddleboard before the water even completed splashing. And I kind of look at her. I'm on the boat still, like putting on
Right.
sunscreen or whatever. And I'm like, getting the radio going, whatever I was doing. And I'm like looking at her like, what in the world? And then she's like trying to get up and some waves come in. And it knocks her down and she hits and like clings on to the side of it and hurry up and gets back in it. And I'm like, babe, what's going on? She's like, I am terrified to fall in the water right now. Dude,
Well, you
she's
know, like they always
there's no
show,
big fish
like,
around here, is there? And I was like, no, we're too far inland.
you know how they show like surfboards, like when guys are on surfboards and they got their arms on the outside of the surfboard and they're paddling, their legs are hanging off, and then they show what it looks like underneath the water.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so fish, you know, big fish. Let's
Looks
say
like a
quote
seal.
unquote big fish. Looks like
Yeah.
it looks like a seal. So
Yeah.
yeah, I can totally see that. But yeah, it says Florida is the home of some incredible sea life, and Destin is no exception. Manatees roam the warm Gulf waters, and it is always a delight to see these real life gentle giants in their natural habitat.
Yeah. See, and I wish we could have. Tasha was like, oh, we should go back because we were way in a little further, but we should have gone even a little further and kind of got into some little coves. I bet we probably could have found some.
Yeah,
Then they definitely wouldn't have got in the water, though.
they would
Even
have,
if-
or they wouldn't.
No, even with them being friendly.
They don't even have a fin. Like
I
they
know,
don't look like a
dude.
shark at all.
No, but still, they're big. I mean, I would have got in with them and told them to take pictures.
Gentle giant is what it says. Gentle.
giant. They are
Gentle
too. They're
giant,
cool.
just like you. You're a gentle
That's it,
giant.
just a gentle giant, dude. But yeah, it was epic, man. It was fun. We had great. The weather was perfect for like the first 3 or 4 days. Then a storm did roll in.
Oh,
But which is rad because got really humid. But the next day we got up in the morning and it was kind of sunny with a little bit of clouds. But that storm was out there, so the waves were big.
oh, okay.
Yeah, so then I'd be telling Alexa, like, "Oh, let's go."
Did you get,
some of
like,
that-
boogie
that
boards or
fresh
anything?
Nar, dude. That fresh nar. Dude, Josh
Oh
was
yeah,
like,
Nevada
how
guy's
long
a
do you-
surfer here.
yeah. Dude, Josh
Let's go get
goes,
that no, dude. Let's go.
It
let's
was.
go
That's what
out
we
there
were
and ride.
saying. And Tosh was like, "How long before Dad quit saying nar when we get back?" I'm still doing it.
No, still a week later. Like
No,
no.
we had a boogie board,
Yeah.
and so Alexa would get out there, dude. Sharks be damned. Like I told her, I says, God willing, like we don't get bit. Like if it's meant to happen, it's gonna happen. Whatever, however it happens. But so we'd get out there, and dude, it was big. Like it was wearing me out, bro. Like they'd be doubling it up and stuff, and I'd get her on the boogie board and help her out there and wait for a big one. You'd feel it like loading, you know, that back
Right.
curl, and it'd
Right.
pull you out, and I'd be like, kick, and she'd just start kicking, and I'd shove her off, and whoo, she'd go ripping down the big ones all the way up to the shore.
Nice.
Yeah, and then some of them she'd be like, I caught air. I mean, she had like a bruised chin because like I was trying to teach her how to dive into the waves or go over them.
Okay.
Depending on what to watch.
The board to come up and smack
The
her in the
board come
face.
up, bam, hit her right there. One time she's like, "Oh man, he hit me right in the cooter."
Oh
What?
wow.
I'm like, that's your mom right there, dude. Yeah. So it was rad though, but it was so like that morning was that way. Then it rained and stuff that night, and then the next day was even a bomb morning like that. But it was like red flag.
Oh.
So if they do two
the
red flags,
undertow.
they shut it down. One
Yeah.
red flag is just dangerous because you'd get a couple double triples coming in and stuff, and then you'd roll a big one. But we were out there in it, dude. I was always just like keeping an eye out, make sure there was no big fish.
No big fish.
And I would look down the beach and make sure I wasn't the furthest one out
Right.
because like a lot of people around us they would just be up front because you had to know. You had to be a good swimmer, I guess. You're comfortable in the water. I should
Okay.
say. Like you had to be pretty comfortable and like knowing what's happening because it
Right.
was. I mean, I was out there like the furthest. If I looked way down, I'd see some people, but where we were generally at, nobody was going that far out, just
Okay.
because they were big, in a sense. Like as you're out there, like there was times I wasn't touching the ground, so I'm just floating,
Right.
waiting. And then I'd get Alexa and I'd bring her out there and I'd kind of hold her back and kind of use the boogie board as kind of keep me afloat.
Right.
and then just wait for one to get us, and then I'd shove her along, dude, and then start floating again to stay up on the water. But it was a lot of work, but it was fun. So yeah, it was
Yeah, I
cool.
mean, I guess like being out there in the water for like sharks and stuff. It's that old saying was, I don't have to be, what is it? Like we can have an attack. I just have to be faster than somebody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
So that's
with bears
opposite
or
in
whatever.
sharks.
So if you're out the farthest,
Yeah.
you'll be the first one hit. So you need to be
Correct.
you
And
need
it's
to
just
be-
in that, but like for me, I figured I was joking. I mean, I was serious. I would always look and be like, ooh, because I don't want to be the sole one out there. Like I want it to be able to look and be like, oh, there's a smaller thing right here,
right.
Alexa. No, just kidding. That's messed up.
Yeah, no.
That's what I told her. I go, I would take the bite, cutes, before you did. She's
Just
like,
flex
I know
that thigh. Dude, if you flex
Yeah,
your
dude,
thigh,
just-
that
he
thing
don't
will
want
break all
that.
his teeth.
He don't know, but he don't want meaty. He don't want muscle. He wants some fat, dude. He
Oh,
don't want
dude.
this. But the thing of it is, like, you have to be opposite on a shark. Like, you don't splash. You
No, you
calmly
Poke its eye.
exit.
You're
You
good
calmly exit the water.
to go.
And I'm like, I don't know if anybody humanly possible would be able to do that unless
I
they've
don't
been
think
around
so.
them a lot.
I don't think so.
You know, because I saw a fish, big fish, and it was actually a fish.
A fish, not a
Fish,
shark.
But
Right.
it was like 4 foot long.
Dude,
Big. And what they do is they just run parallel with the
the wave.
beach.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So, but the water's so clear. So I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I look up, and here's this 4 foot fish swimming along the bank like that, the coast. And I'm like, oh god! And then I'm like, oh, that's the fish. Because like shark have that little
Yeah,
wave to them,
yeah.
kind of like a wave. They kind of weave their way through. No fins, nothing like that on the top side. But it was a big old fish, dude. And so there was like a couple next to me, and like this girl and then like her brother or whatever. I'm like, dude, look at that fish right there. And he was like getting hit with the waves, just going along. He's got goggles on, wearing a full T-shirt. Like, I think he was probably from Utah, never even been at the ocean. And dude, and so she's trying to look, and I'm like, he's right there, and it's going from my right to left, so it's coming around in front, and she's like, I don't have my glass. I have terrible sight. I'm like, well, you ain't gonna see it. It's gone.
She's like, I'm from Canada. I can't see it.
And so I was just like, so yeah, that was a big one. Then I saw, like, I told Lex, look at that school of them. And she's like, what? I'm like, there's like 7 or 8. And they were like 2-footers swimming along there.
So when you guys took the boat, did you do any fishing?
No, I was
You guys just
gunning.
cruised?
Yeah, we just had the paddle boards, stereo, took our lunch, and,
Nice.
did all that stuff. Just putzed around, jumped in the water, boated, We had like a frisbee and like a skip ball and all that stuff.
Nice.
So we just ripped along that stuff. But it was like, I thought about getting a fish and stuff, but then I'm like, Tasha's like, what are we going to do while you're fishing?
Paddleboard.
They did do some paddleboarding, but it wasn't like that long like you would do fishing. And so I was like, whatever. I'm not going to spend $60 to get a tag and some tackle for
Yeah.
20 minutes of fishing.
I'd love to catch a marlin or something. That would be fun.
Yeah, so you'd have to get chartered.
You'd have to charter
go
a
out.
boat. Yeah. You
Before
guys
you
did that
take
in
these
2018.
Yeah, we went shark fishing. That was back when you could fish for sharks, I guess. But like you get with where we're going, because we got a pontoon boat, and you can't take that out in the ocean.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you're in the ocean, but you're not out in the ocean.
Like
There's like the
open
barrier.
water
There's like a
type
rock.
stuff.
Yeah, there's like the rock barrier and the reef and all that stuff. So you're on the inside of that because a pontoon boat wouldn't make it.
It doesn't handle the
out
waves
there.
that well.
No, you'd sack in a hurry. You know, the crazy thing is, too, I didn't think about this. I never saw a single pigeon in Destin.
A pigeon
A pigeon.
or a
You think
seagull?
about a pigeon?
Okay.
No, I saw some seagulls.
Yeah, the seagulls probably freaking keep those pigeons out of there.
Dude, not even inland. Like when we were up at the house, or like even at different places, dude. Pigeon. Like I see you, like here. I mean, you see pigeons all the time.
Yeah, but pigeons might not be a ocean freaking bird.
I don't think they must not be, because I didn't see a single one.
I don't know. We're all about the facts.
All about the facts here, dude, whether they're right or not. Well, because then it got me thinking about, because I was like, I watched some documentary thing or something about pigeon races. Have you ever seen pigeon races?
No.
Dude, there's some money in pigeon racing. I know.
So they're like
Those
homing
guys-
pigeon type
Yeah.
situation?
But they tag them up, and
Okay.
these pigeons, they fly like hundreds of miles,
Right.
and like you let them go somewhere, and they have to come to a certain place, and people like bet on them, like horse racing.
Right. Horse racing,
But they
freaking
bet on
greyhound,
these
dog
pigeons,
racing.
dude.
Yeah.
And so like there was like this one dude that had won like 3 times or something, and so like his pigeons were worth like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Wow.
And he would win bank, dude, on pigeon racing. It's nuts, dude. You have to look it up. It's the craziest thing ever, dude. And you're just hoping the thing finds its way back, like doesn't get stupid or whatever. Find some tail and some snatch and be like, oh, look at this one. There you go. Now you just lost the race. But they're gone for like, it's a while. And then they come in, and the dude, like, as it comes down to like, it's been a minute since I've seen it, but as it comes down like to the time that they should be coming, he goes out and does like these calls.
Really?
And he'll go out and call, and then he'll do it for a while, and then he goes and carries on doing what he's doing, and he'll go out and do some more calling and just kind of like hone this thing in. It's wild, dude. You have to look it up. I think it was like on Netflix, but I can't.
Pigeon racing.
Pigeon racing, dude.
Dude, people just like to bet on anything.
That's
They'll figure it out.
No
They'll figure it
doubt,
out.
dude. It's nuts. But when I was listening to this, it made me think of Braxton from Utah.
Yeah.
I was listening to another podcast, like coming back.
Okay.
Dude, this dude got attacked by a bear in Wyoming.
Okay.
It was a grizzly bear. And dude, it's like, gosh, it had to be days. It had to be just like 3 weeks ago, maybe a month now, that he was attacked.
Yeah, Braxton him and his brothers just nailed 2 of them like 3 weeks ago.
Black bears.
A month ago. Yeah.
Yeah, the dude said it. He goes, I've been around black bears, because they had to ask him. They're like, was it a black? What kind of bear was it? How do you know? He's like, it was a grizzly bear. They're like, how do you know that? And he's gotten into hunting and stuff like that.
Right.
Because it was eating my face, I saw it. You know what I mean? Like, not like that. But so, long story short, he goes, him and his wife were married and stuff, and they went to Wyoming, and they were going to this place. They want to go see like these gray owls or something.
Okay.
And they heard that this place has it. So they had this little like rent a van that they, made a bed in and all that stuff. Kind of like the hippie camping, hiking type scenario. She's an EMT. They have a dog. He goes hiking back into there. She's there. And then she's like, well, I'm not going to keep going back into there any further. I'm going to go back to the truck, kind of route out our next thing. He's like, all right, because they hadn't seen anything. So he's like, well, I'm going to go up this little draw here, and then I'll come back. He goes, I set a timer on my phone. And they knew that there had been bears, like where they were at. It's like bear country kind of stuff up and then around those areas. So they were being noisy, had music playing. Like when he was in the army or whatever, military. So he set his phone for an hour, for 1 hour, like so it would go off, so he'd know, okay, I got to come back.
Gotcha.
Hike back. So. He sets his timer. He heads up there, and his timer goes off on it. And he's like, "Oh crap!" So he's like, "Well, I'm just gonna drop down this road." He goes, "I've hiked through some thick stuff and all that stuff, and it's thicker." And he's like, "I'm a fast." He even said, "Like some people just hike fast." He's like, "I'm a fast hiker, so
right.
I can cover some ground." So he was like, "Okay." So he goes down and he's going through the thicket stuff, and he knows his general area. Like he said, his Onyx, the GPS wasn't working, but he didn't download the maps beforehand, so he couldn't pull them up, and they were blurry. But he knew the direction. He's like, I had a compass, all that stuff. Like I've done the survival stuff. They're rock climbers, all that stuff. So he's headed down this draw, whatever, and he says I'm singing cadences like that they sing in the military and the Marines.
Right.
So he's marching, like doing like a march song. So he's being noisy is what he's trying to do. Talking to himself, just carrying on, like just making ruckusy noise so you don't scare anything. And he draws down through, and this bear cub, goes taking off up this hill.
Oh.
And so he has bear spray in a little holster thing that's on his side. And he has like his day pack stuff. And he said, because he said people have asked, he was on Good Morning America and all that stuff.
Okay.
And he's like, he says that people always ask, do you wish you had a gun? He's like, well, of course I wish I had a gun. Like, you're always going to wish that. He's like, first, if I had a 10 millimeter or something. He goes, the only thing is, like I tell him, I wouldn't have been able to use it. Okay. He's like, maybe possibly if I would have got a shot off to scare it would be the only thing the gun would have been good for.
Because it happened that fast.
That fast. He says, I was attacked. He goes, and when I say 3 seconds, I'm probably being lenient.
Right. That's so a modest 3 seconds.
They said, even the guys that he was on the podcast with were like, you probably looked right over the mama bear. Because he's watching this cub take off.
Right.
And he's like, in his mind, and this dude has had bad luck for like the last 4 years.
Oh, shit.
Had a tumor.
Oh.
Had to get it removed. Jacked up his hearing so he can't hear out of one ear. Was messing up, it messed up his smell and taste a little bit. And one of his eyes was partially blind.
Oh, gosh.
And he had to, and so it was coming back slowly, but it wasn't going to be fully. And then he was hiking with the one eye that's blind, so it's hard to see, and he'd fallen down 7 times when he was he was on a bow hunt.
Okay.
And then he was up hiking somewhere, stepped, and a stick flung up and stuck him in his eyeball. On the good eye. And said it punctured.
Why are
you
going out in the wilderness at all?
Dude, I know. It punctured his eye so far.
Oh my gosh.
That it almost went through into the back and ruined the retina or whatever.
Wow.
So they got it out, and that one healed up fine. So he was okay with that. So he just had this bad, just a run of luck, dude. And when he's telling the story, he's like, I know it sounds like I'm just making it up, but all of it's true, And so anyway, so this bear, he sees the cub, and it takes off, and he's like, oh gosh. And so he reaches down. In the time that he saw the cub, he said he reached down to grab that bear spray. And by the time he reached over and got his finger on that safety pin, that mom bear was charging him from his left side, southwest side.
Oh gosh.
At him. And all he saw, they were like, how tall was it? So he says, I was looking down at her as she was charging me, and then she got up on her hinds, she jumped up to hit him, swat him. So she swats him, boom, hits him. So he's trying to go to the ground. They say, don't ball up now. They say just lay flat.
Okay.
And act dead.
All right.
Because they're doing it for not to eat you.
Protection.
They're doing it they want you dead. So that you're a threat to their cub. So she whomps him down, and he hits the ground, and then feels her bite his shoulder.
Oh, God.
And crush his shoulder. So he wails out, and he screams, whatever, of course, why wouldn't you? She throws him, flings him over, then jumps on top. He feels her put her paw on him, and then one dude's like, yeah, she's probably got a paw on you, and is waving in the crowd like a wrestler, oh yeah, I got him. So he says the most helpless he's ever felt. There's the pressure of this thing. So then jumps off, reaches down. He's trying to hold plank. His hands are on above his neck now, holding at the back of his neck, covering his vitals.
Okay.
Neck, throat area. Feels her bite his leg and pick him up. And so he's trying to hold plank. He's like, I tried to stay as stiff as I could so that she wasn't just flailing me.
Right.
He goes, and they're like, did she toss you around? He's like, no, she didn't really toss. She just picked him up. He's like, and all I could think of was just stay rigid, hold a plank so that you're stiff, so that she just is dropping you evenly, I guess. So she picks him up, slings him over, throws him again to the side, then runs over and jumps on his back again and presses on him. So basically he thinks she's feeling him out to see if he's dead.
Yeah.
So she's now bit his leg, and then she's torn into his back a little bit because when she gets on him, I mean, she's clawing, puncturing holes into his back. Then she grabs him again, picks him up, flings him over another place, and so like all this that happens, right? She jumps over, grabs hold. Now she goes for his neck, the bite to the back of his neck, where his hand's at. This bear, he says, and the whole time they don't make like that. It's like a
right.
She's just like puffing, and then he feels her bite down into his hand, and he feels a pop, and he's like, there went my skull.
Oh my goodness.
And then he feels it run down the back of his neck, this fluid running down the back of his neck, and he's like, that's it,
I'm dead.
all of a sudden. And then he just hears this, there's no more pressure, this thing's gone, like there's no pressure on his body, there's nothing. But then he hears thumping away and like sneezing and coughing.
Okay.
She bit the bear spray, which was still, he had his finger through the loophole, and when he put his hands on the back of his neck, that can was still sitting there. And when she bit down on the back of his neck, popped the can and sprayed herself in the mouth and face, and jumped off of him and ran off because she just.
So the fluid he was feeling was the bear spray
leaky.
Whew.
Yeah.
Dude, that gives me chills just thinking about that, dude. Like, gosh dang.
So he gets up and takes off running. Unbeknownst to himself, knowing what direction he's running, but he's running away from where the bear attacked him first.
Right.
And he's running away from the vehicle that he was hiking towards.
Oh no.
So he hikes up, and he's like, there's some snow drifts and stuff there, and he stops and he turns around and he's like, okay, the blood color is like red and stuff like that. So he's like, okay, I know they didn't get I'm not bleeding from an artery.
Right.
You know, like a femoral artery or whatever.
Right.
So he hikes some more into it. Now this whole time he didn't have cell service at all. So then he goes and grabs his phone and he does his final, like he doesn't think he's gonna live.
Right.
He doesn't know. So he gets his phone and does his final goodbyes, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Now, he goes, I can play those for you guys separately. He goes, but it's pretty intimate. He didn't want to put them on the podcast or the shows. But he told the guys that were doing the podcast with him, like, he's like, I'll let you guys see it if you want to. And they're like, nah, we're good. Like, nobody wants to see your last, like, your
freaking
see you later video, So he gets up roundabout when he looked at Onyx stuff later. It's like maybe like a half a mile away now. So now he feels like he's seen safe. So he sets down. Of course, then he looks at his phone and he's got service. 3G kicks in.
Oh, nice.
So he texts his wife that's in the car with the dog, attack. And then sends it. It like zings on. It doesn't go through. So he calls. The call doesn't go through that he thinks. It's ringing or whatever, but it doesn't answer. So she doesn't answer. She calls him back because then she sees like it didn't it didn't go through, but it did, but it just showed that she had a missed call.
Right.
She's like, that's weird. Because she's probably like, they're all joking. Yeah, you're probably sitting in the truck. You're like, every time. I give him an hour and 15 minutes, and every time he's late. Just that not knowing that he just got mauled by a grizzly bear. And he says every time he closes his eyes, he can see that bear's face, the brown eyes of the bear. Like it's dark. So she calls him back, and he says, it happened. I've been attacked. And he goes, pretty sure this is the EMT of my wife. He goes, there was zero sympathy towards any of it. She just goes, you got your pack on you? Where's your med pack? And he's like, it's in the effing van. That's what she's sitting at. It's all pissed. So she starts just going into like EMT mode. She's like, Well, you got to assess your wounds. Check this. Then he loses connection. So she's now then calls the Rangers because she's down further where there's cell service at the parking place. And so he starts taking the straps off of his like pack and stuff, and he puts a high-low tourniquet on his leg. He's checking his hand. He picks his hand up, and he can see through his arm.
Wow.
Like, well, that's not good. It's like through his watch band, and then his tricep. When he looked at that one, he could see through the backside of his tricep where one of the canines punctured through.
Okay.
He's like, that one hurt really bad, and my shoulder, and then that tricep. And then he was like feeling around where like the least amount. He said like when he came down and started slowing down, like the last quarter of that distance he was traveling, he noticed after he started tourniquet and everything, and he was getting up to start going, he would keep checking back at the trail, and his blood was lessening.
Okay.
So that's it. He's like, okay, so I've got good stuff marked. And
right.
tagged, and like I've stopped myself up. And he took his sweatshirt off, tied it around some stuff. So the ranger comes rolling in, and she's like, his wife Chloe was like, okay, so like he's like, where'd you last see him? This, that, and the other. She goes, he tried to make cell service with me, but I couldn't get a longitude, latitude. The service is not that good. He's like, yep, okay, yep, that's where I needed to know. Perfect. So he just walks off, and she's like, so she starts going, like, gonna go with him. She's like, I'm EMT. He's all, right on, I'm a paramedic. Jumps in his truck and drives off. And she's just standing there like, what the shit? Like, well, shouldn't I go with you? Like, you know. But anyway, so they get a helicopter in, but he tells him if he talks to you again or call him and see if you can get his number, tell him to call 911 so he can be on with an operator.
Okay.
So she gets a hold of him, calls 911. They can try to triangulate where the cell service come from. They couldn't. But the helicopter was flying over, and he could tell the dispatcher where the helicopter was, and the dispatcher would relay it to the helicopter.
Okay.
So he was like, they're at 3, tell them to come stop at there, and then come back 3 o'clock, X amount, 100 yards, whatever it was.
Right.
Eventually, they got over the top of him, and then they were like, they couldn't see him, but it was because it was so dense, like the forest. So then they're like, there's a clearing or something. So they're like, okay, meet us over in the clearing. Come over that way, and then we'll reevaluate from there. And as soon as he got up to start going, he heard somebody say his name, and he was like, turns around, they're like, hey, are you so-and-so? And as he's just sitting there covered in blood and just a mess. Actually, he put his sweatshirt back on because the dispatcher said, yeah, put your sweatshirt back on. Like, they don't want him going into hypothermia.
Right.
For shock. So the ranger's like, some ranger comes blowing through the trees with his shotgun out. It's like, are you so-and-so? And he's like, yeah, not pointing at him, but like,
right.
You got
waiting for the bear.
Scene safe.
Right.
He's like, yeah, I haven't seen him. I'm like a mile or half a mile from where it happened. But they have to ask him if it's him or not, like, let alone that he's just bleeding
everywhere.
And then, like, he goes, within like 2 minutes, there was like 8 rangers there with guns.
Wow.
They bagged him up, hauled him up in the helicopter, and brought him over and dropped him into the lot right there where the ambulance was at, and hauled him into the emergency room. As they're just like, then the rangers are like, okay, start pulling his shirt off and start assessing him, triaging him, checking what's worse, doing all this stuff, plugging his stuff. He goes, that was the worst. They're just shoving gauze into holes in my body. Yeah, and they're just like, here's one. Oh, here's one. Oh, here's another one. Just corking him up. Then they load him off. Dude's craziest story ever, man. I was like, oh my gosh, I got to tell Vinny about that one.
Dang.
Yeah, it was gnarly.
That's why we don't bear hunt.
That's why we don't hike. We bear hunt because we have guns.
Oh, that's true.
You just don't hike. Be hunting. But the crazy thing, he goes, my friends are always making fun of us, my wife and I, because we always are like prepared, packed, and always have all this stuff. He goes, and then that, like, I just didn't grab that bag.
Wow.
And so, but I mean, he did fine. It's just the other one has, like, he even says, like, and I've heard it multiple times, they're like, if you were ever going out, if you do anything like that, coyote hunting for us, razor riding or any sort of that where you go out in like the wilderness and the woods and stuff like that, he goes, pack your bag prepared for it like that, and he's like, your first aid kit, you got to have a couple tourniquets and different stuff like that in there. You got to like, he's like, not, I've heard multiple times too where they're like, not just some cheap Band-Aid gauze one. He's like, get a good one.
That's what I have in my backpack.
Yeah. So for us, and I've been looking at them too, I have a nice one. It doesn't have a tourniquet one in it, but it's got, scissors, and it's got the coagulating powder. Like it's a good setup, but it's not that kind of setup. But like, he's like, you can get them in little backpack things. Right. And you can just strap them onto your stuff or throw them in where you're going with whatever. But I've heard that multiple times, so we definitely need to do that.
Okay. That's a good idea. Well, dude, this was an hour and a half podcast, bro.
No.
Yeah. We caught up.
Well, bear attack, pigeons. Oh, dude, we went and ate this seafood. I probably ate like 2 pounds, pound and a half of shrimp for sure.
Dude, shrimp and crab is awesome.
Or crab. Oh, dude, it was so good. Like fresh caught there. Tasha probably ate the most hamburgers I've ever seen.
Right.
Every time we went. I bet she had like 4 or 5 hamburgers.
She's not a seafood person.
No. We'd be smashing on. She said the burgers were really good, so that's a plus to you. But she's like, oh my gosh, I got my fill of burgers. Because we were just smashing on it. But yeah, it's cool. I think you guys, either the next time we go or you guys even just plan your own trip.
And where did you stay? Was it an Airbnb? Was it a resort?
It's sort of. Does
it have a name?
Yeah, it's called Palms of Destiny.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's like a condo.
Okay.
Setup. It's like stories high. It's tall and it's big, but it like surrounds like a pool area.
Oh, nice.
Kind of like a giant, like remember when we were kids and we were like at that apartment complex that had like a general pool.
Yeah.
But it's like that, but fancy.
Oh, cool.
So you
Palms
of
like Destiny.
Palms of Destiny. Yeah, of Destin.
Oh,
so when you go in to it, it has a little parking garage. You can park your car or whatever.
Nice.
And then 2 towers that you stay in, like room towers. But it has like a kitchen, like a little bar thing, living room area. The one we got was a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. Nice. So I mean, it's a nice little setup. They got the deck out there or whatever, balcony thing you can go out and sit there. It's got a table and chairs and stuff. Yeah, dude, it was good. This is a good long one.
That's good. So, I'm on vacation this week and I'm not doing anything.
And then and we know coming up on the next episode, Vinny's going to do another stand-up comedy show. Hopefully, if he gets the invite, which will be Tuesday, Wednesday.
It'll be Wednesday night.
So if we do our podcast next week, we'll be able to talk about your stand-up.
Hopefully I get another congratulations. I made it on the open mic for Wednesday night, yeah.
Let's do that. We'll pray for that for you, brother.
Send my email on Thursday, and they won't let you know till Monday night. So hopefully it works out.
Okay. Well, best of luck, dude, and then look forward to knowing how it goes.
Yeah.
Stand-up comedian guy.
Yeah, I don't think I'm as prepared for this one. I think it's a little bit more off the cuff. I've got stuff written down, but I haven't.
Get prepared. You got a couple days.
I gotta get prepared. Yeah.
Because you don't want to go in there with your pants down.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, brother. Love you, man.
All right, brother. Love you too.
All right.
Peace.